Everyone, welcome once again to Vish Chats. Tim Vicious with me today. He is a contributor to the Main Event Network. Folks, you could pretty much set your watch to whatever day of the week he's streaming. He's also the mastermind behind the Main Event Network's 24-hour stream. Tino, dude,
Hey,
good to have you on here, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I honestly, it's funny because I was thinking about doing it because everybody calls me the Marathon Man, the live streamer, the this and that. All these nicknames I got that I didn't even give myself. I didn't Mr. No Days Off, this and that. And I've been thinking about doing a 24-hour live stream myself because I'm always live. There's shows on and everything. I just made a comment in one of the OTM guys' episodes, and all of a sudden Kyle's like, "Let's do it." Like, heck yeah, let's do it. You know,
and that's folks, we're giving a peek behind the curtain here with the Main Event.
I don't know if I was supposed to. Kyle, don't yell at me.
But yeah, that's on how it came up. It just got brought up as a random idea. Next thing you know, it was like, wait a second. Let's iron out some of the details on this and see if we could get this done.
I know.
And that's on how it came to be.
We did it. You know, we got. There's a lot of people we got to give shout outs to because like Paperclip Mike staying up at 3 to 6 in the morning doing it because Kyle asked me, he's like, how long do you think you can go for? Because I'm usually good like certain points, but I fall asleep at like 10:30, 11. I can't stay up. I fall asleep in my podcast chair. I'll literally fall asleep like this, like and just I get so tired that I can't stay up. So I was like, I could try. But I'm like, I fell asleep during the Hall of Fame. And that was
like, dude, I didn't even watch the Hall of Fame because I knew I was going to be like, no, because if I do, then I'm going to fall asleep during Mania. And I'm going to kill myself if that happens.
I went back and watched my live stream. I literally fell asleep during the national disasters speech. Whole time. I woke up and I did not even see them. I was
you got to take the Booker T route. Just say you were praying. You're like, no, I'm praying.
Well, yeah.
I'm praying.
Man.
Or if it was my dad's case, he's saying, no, I'm just resting my eyes.
Yeah. That's what my parents used to say. They'd be like, oh, I'm just tired. We watch a movie or whatever. And my dad would be like, oh, I'm just tired. And then all of a sudden he wake up in this. I catch myself doing it now. And I'm just like, oh my God. Because me and my mom watching movies all the time. And I'll fall asleep and I'm like, oh my God, this is what it must feel like. And I don't know. And it's sad because I'm only 29. I shouldn't have all this energy. And I feel like I'm like 60 and I'm old and I sleep. And I'm like,
no, I get that, dude. I'm 40. And that entire weekend, I was so punch drunk from sleep deprivation.
He said punch drunk. I was ready to go again. I told Kyle, let's keep going. He's like, shut up.
Yeah, well, when I popped up for that random run in, I had some free time. You know, my son, he asked my parents, his grandparents, like, hey guys, can you give me a lift of mass? Because he's a practicing Catholic. I'm not, and I don't hold that against him. You know, it's whatever works for you. Yeah. And they are. So like, okay, yeah. Hey, we're going to go and head to church. Okay. Okay, guys. And then I took care of some stuff around the house and I was like, I got a few minutes. Let me hop on. Let me just do a quick run in. And then that's on how I did that second pop-up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was wondering when, like, because you came on right after us with after me and Kyle got done watching SmackDown. It was a huge.
Yeah, because me and Jay Gold were talking. We were like, because when me and Jay Gold were first formatting on what we were going to do when we came on, it hit us after we got done everything like, wait, we're the first one that switches over. Oh my God, we're going to be this. We're setting the tone for the rest of the night with transitions.
I know.
Holy shit.
I know. I kept it on all night. You guys did a great job. It was funny because I had it on my phone because I was trying to help Kyle get those watch hours. I was trying to tell Kyle, I'm like, tell your family just to put it on the TV. I'm like, they're on 24 hours, you know?
That's what I was doing. I had it playing on my, like, dude, I had it playing on my tablet. Yeah. I had it playing on my tablet and my tablet was on mute.
And yeah, that's exactly what and it was funny because that's how I fell asleep. I had you guys on for a while and I fell asleep. And before I finally fell asleep, because I fall asleep and I roll around a lot and I move around. So I was like, oh no, I'm gonna all of a sudden not be able to find my phone. And so I'm like, I muted it. I put it low. I put my phone up on my desk or whatever, and I passed out. And I woke up and thankfully it was still on. And I remember waking up at like 3 or 4 in the morning and Paperclip Mike was playing some video game. I'm like, thank God he showed up. I was like,
yeah, because I remember that because what was it? After we hopped off, I got a shower, took like a quick hour took like a quick hour-long nap. I got up and I saw Mike was playing this game. I was like, yes, he's got WrestleQuest up. Good. And then after that, I had to go and get moving for the rest of the day because I had stuff I had to take care of.
And that's the thing. It was. I mean, and I feel like we did it without like really like affecting anybody else, because everybody's got their own schedules. Like me, like obviously, like I always tell people, like this is like what I do. I really don't have like too many friends out here in Wisconsin, so like I didn't mind going live for the most amount of time. But like I feel like it did, like if you had to go to work or something, it didn't really affect you. And as Kyle said in a bunch of the episodes since that we've done it, there's a lot of people that showed up from other shows and other things that didn't even have to, that like brought stuff to the network. That that was what it was all about, just getting to know everybody, a part of it that you may not have known of, and that you may have never watched, and you're like, oh, maybe I like this, and maybe they don't. Maybe people liked me, maybe people didn't like me, maybe they liked Kyle, maybe they did it, so got a little bit of everything in that. And
yeah, because I mean, even my brother wound up actually hopping on in the chat when me, Jay Golden Butters were on.
Oh, there are so many people names that I've never seen that showed up. And that's the thing. I mean, and there's people that were probably up at 3-4 in the morning that just had a paperclip mic on, and they, never know.
Yeah. And
the thing.
And I even my son even asked if he could do a run in to hop on with it. I was like, okay, bud, you can. And that was it. So that's why he was sitting with me the whole time when we were watching. He was seeing that. That was his first time seeing like the early 2000s kind of indie era wrestling.
Yeah. Man,
and he was just looking like, oh my God.
Man, people don't understand how that wrestling, because people they're like surprised that like I've been watching for as long as I have, because a lot of people that I know started watching like after the 20s of WrestleManias, or like right around once in a lifetime. But I've been watching wrestling since like WrestleMania 20, and I've went back and I just recently finished rewatching them all on my retro series. So I've watched every WrestleMania, and it's just one of those things that it's like the knowledge and the stuff that like has happened that like it's crazy like how different it is from like then to now, and like why we like certain things, or like I have certain friends that won't watch it now because they're so used to what the Attitude Era was, or the Ruthless Aggression, or so it just. And you like what you like, and that's fine.
I mean, dude, I grew up with the Golden Era. I grew up watching the Golden Era, seeing the guys like Hogan, Savage, Rude, and all that jazz. Macho was, and always will be my guy. But in the same breath, I absolutely freaking love Triple H. He was like that dude just screamed like, no, I don't know what it was, but something that he would do just how he carried himself would just make me gravitate to him.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing, like with people, like lately, the thing is, I don't know if you've seen it, but the thing that I mean, at least some of us have, and I try to do it every time I see Kyle. But one of Kyle's favorite tag teams is Hank and Tank.
And
there's nothing wrong with it. I love Hank and Tank, but it's just so funny. Out of like all the tag teams, that's one of his favorites. So but everybody likes somebody different, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Just like we all grew up in different eras. Where like my dad was like Big Rock and Austin and this and that, and that's where I really started watching. Was because my dad would buy every pay-per-view. We had the cheater boxes. My cousins would come over. We had WrestleMania parties, and it was just like so. Obviously, my guy, and I'm sure it's John Cena, but that's only because my first WrestleMania I remember watching was WrestleMania 20, and who was the first person to come out? John Cena coming out rapping and making fun of the Big Show. So,
hey, I won't judge, man. I mean, I said, Macho Man, he's my guy, and I say all the time, the best WrestleMania match of all time, in my opinion. I know a lot of people say it's Taker and Shawn, and you could say whichever one.
Is that the one you're talking about? 25, right?
Yeah. Well, some people say 25. Some can say the retirement one. But either way, my personal all-time greatest WrestleMania match is Rock and Hogan. Simply because of the fact that wrestling's equivalent to Tyson versus Ali. You have the two different greatest of their generations, basically. The two biggest draws of their generations.
Yeah. And that was the thing, like, for me, too, for, like, a long time. And like I think when it happened, it was 20. It was Rock. So the next one obviously was Rock and Cena. But for me, that was because my dad loved The Rock and I loved Cena. So it was like we had like that, just like Hogan and Rock. They had, I'm sure, kids and parents and everything had like the same type of thing. Where that just for me, it was always like that. But my favorite WrestleMania match has always been, and I don't know why, but it's always been Rey Mysterio winning the world title at WrestleMania 22. Maybe it's just because it's Chicago or what it is, but I just remember winning the Rumble from one. That was when Eddie passed away. I remember being traumatized as a kid. I would literally sleep in that and go EDDIE. I don't know why, but like when Eddie died, it like traumatized me as a kid.
I cried.
So
I openly cried like you thought I lost a member of my own family when I got the news Eddie passed.
Yeah.
Like I got it. I was in shock. And then once I got into my own bedroom, it like the waterworks just poured. Like you'd thought I just got told like my uncle or or brother passed away.
I know. And that's just what wrestlers can really do to you. And I know we're not allowed to really mention him, but Chris Benoit's another one. If you take away everything bad that he did, the wrestling part of his career was great. And it sucks that we can't mention him or really talk about him or they can't do anything because there's so many moments that he's had that like at WrestleMania 20 or WrestleMania 23 or when, you know, all these things that he did do and it's just, you know, so. But yeah, that's always been my favorite just because of that with Eddie and all of that, winning the title and then celebrating and, you know. And the entrance was really cool. I really like that entrance.
Yeah. So what made you come up with the idea of always making sure you're doing streaming? Because man, I tell you, it's like we always say, no days off, man. It's like if you got a free minute, you're just like, you know what? Let me just go and hop on.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I literally and I tell everybody this, where it's just like I make shorts and I make videos about like Stephanie just got announced officially on the roster page. I made a short and it's got like 300 views already. So it's like every time something happens, I make a short, and there are some that I get like 30 views, but then there's some that go off where I woke up one day and I had one that I made of Jade Cargill and it got 25,000 views. And I'm like, okay. And the biggest thing, like with me, and I actually talked about it on the podcast that I was on. You should go check it out if you have not yet. Winning the Night. It's on my community page on Tino's Time if you have not. But for me, I've always had a lot of anxiety. I've always had a lot of like, I have ADD, ADHD. I have a lot of like depression and stuff like that. And I've always got like, I never really had any friends. I always got bullied. And it was like, and yeah, I'm sure you know this, wrestling wasn't cool. So like for a long time, it was like hidden. Nobody watched it. Nobody liked it. Ha, you were the kid that got made fun of for watching wrestling. So I had my few core friends. But when I started doing this, I finally felt like I found like a community where like I met like Kyle, I met like Steve, SCW Steve. I started talking to you guys and everything else like that. And I just started finally feeling comfortable and everything else like that, where it was just like for a long time also, I didn't want to show my face because I was like, I don't want to do this. I know, but I can't talk. I'm scared. I just was afraid. But I finally just got over it and I did it. And me becoming and doing the streaming, it like is like I get like this adrenaline and I get like this feeling like people tell me like I'm a completely different person. And it's like there's words that I pronounce when I'm live that like if me and you were just sitting here watching TV that I can't pronounce. And it's weird, but it just may be because I'm talking and that has to do with like everything that I went through and everything. But going live every day is just kind of like help with the anxiety, the depression. It gives me something to look forward to. There's people like J-Dog that comes and hangs out and he's even told me like I've made like his days where he looks forward to watching me. And I'm sure there's people that come in your guys' streams and everybody shows that that's what they look forward to. And it's crazy. Me just watching wrestling has become that where I do this on a regular basis. So why not just go live, hang out, stream with you guys? And I meet so many people every stream that I may not have met, and I would still be sitting here watching Raw for 3 hours.
Yeah, I get that, man. Yeah, because I don't know if you've checked out all the stuff I put on my YouTube page, but outside I do my rants. My rants drop on Tuesdays. I got the interviews. I got this show here is every other Wednesday. And I got my comedy shorts I do like on Mondays and Thursdays. And I will do random shit posting of stuff that I like or I just gives me a cheap laugh. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me just go and put that on. And then I'll see like one where it's Obi-Wan looking at Darth Vader like, what have you become? I'm what you made me. And just thinking, that's what happens when you see your ex after they broke up with you a year later. And I made that as a joke. And next thing you know, it was like within an hour, it was like, you got 40,000 views. What the hell?
Yeah. Man, and it's funny because it's always the ones that you don't try on. Like there are so many videos and things I've tried to make so good and they just don't do anything. And then all of a sudden I'll post like like I say, it was literally a Jade Cargill figure and it got 25. I was like, okay. It's like, sure.
Yeah.
Nice to
talk about.
I appreciate it, you know. So They want to see it. They want to see it. Whatever you want to see. And it's funny because there will also be people that will tell me, they'll be like, I love your shorts. And I know people's attention spans aren't that big, and I know it's hard to sit there and watch a 3-hour show or whatever else like that. But if you watch the short, you subscribe and this and that, and maybe you come and watch an episode, this and that, like, you know, and that's kind of how it happens. Because I always tell people, there's shorts. I get more subscribers from shorts than I do my actual like live streams. So
that's been the case with me since I started doing shorts. That's like my subscriber count tripled since I started doing shorts, especially with the random shit postings.
Yeah. And it's all about the attention span, because people just don't like, even my little sister and her friends are like, I have like, my roommate's daughter that I lived with, she's like 11, and she literally just scrolls through TikTok. And like, it's gotten to the point now where like she sees my stuff. She's like, you're in my feed now. She's like, I just randomly see your videos. And that's just because, like I said, I post everything. As soon as something happens, somebody gets released, a trade, you know, because I also do baseball. I also talk football. I know, like, you know, it's not just wrestling where, like, you know, like the White Sox, they make a trade or a game gets, like yesterday's game got pushed up. I made a short. It got a couple hundred views. I'm like, okay, you know, and that just, you know, it's the consistency too. People, you know, that's what they want. They don't want people. Man, I've seen so many people get on people for not posting. And it's like, obviously people got lives, but, you know, and it just, yeah, so.
Oh, yeah, I get that, because what was it? Last guest, Leo Kim, we were talking, and I was like, dude, I wish there were times I could just put my phone down. But, you know, if I'm trying to do work with this thing, a lot of times it's a pain because I have to keep this thing glued to me, you know, and I get that.
Yeah.
So, have you ever gone to an actual White Sox game?
Oh, have I went to an actual White Sox game?
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you how many games I've actually been to?
Okay. All right. That tells it more than enough right there. Because listen, I'm a diehard Phillies fan. Okay. I was born and raised in South Philly, and I'm showing my age here, folks.
It's funny.
I went to that stadium.
Tim, I have not, but it's funny that you say that, because I'm actually going to see the Phillies face the White Sox in July. So you come into Chicago and we go into a Phillies game?
Dude, if I could get the Chicago, trust me, I would. My best friend, she's like my baby sister. I tell her all the time, she's my adopted baby sister. I took her in as my little sister. She says all the time, she's the only South Side girl. She used to say all the time, she was the only South Side girl that would cheer for the Sox.
Yeah.
Listen, sorry, Amanda. Please don't throw me up. Please don't hurt me because I put you out there like that.
It's not fun to be a White Sox fan, man, especially after last year, the 121 season.
God.
And I am the guy. So I've been to probably over 150 plus White Sox games. There was like a 3 to 4 year span. I had my own season tickets. And then my dad's friend had 81 game season tickets, and he didn't want to go. So like a random Tuesday, Wednesday, he'd just give me his tickets and I'd go. I'd get 4 tickets. I'd sell the other 3. I'd go in there, get a pop, and then take the rest of the money. So for like 5-6 years, I went to probably like 20, 30 games a year, where it was just like me living at the stadium. And it was fun, but they weren't fun to watch. It was just more obviously, you know, now. And I don't cheap plug. We have the South Side Boys over on YouTube and all the social medias. But that's kind of like where, like, because the White Sox too were like always my thing growing up with wrestling, where like I knew I could count on them. Because that's also been my thing too, with like the podcasting. Like, I want people to know they can count on me. I'm not going to disappear. There are times where I take my Chicago trips. I do whatever, but I always am making a short. I have my figures, my whatever the heck I'm doing, or like I said, random stuff. And it's just always been like, I want people to show up, because people never showed up for me in my life, where it was just like the White Sox and wrestling was always there. So like when I'm like watching the Sox game, like even now, like they start at 3:00. I'll have it on until I'm done, and it's just that thing. Like, I haven't missed a game also in like 15 years. If it's watching on my phone, a tablet, whatever it is, if it's listening to it, I'm always watching somehow, some way. And as I said, I got tickets to go to the Sox Phillies in July, and I've been trying to go to game like every month, because my co-host for the South Side Boys has season tickets. So he's always there. He's always doing stuff. He's always, you know, chugging beers. He literally he went to the game with me last week when I went to Chicago. He literally made me record him taking a chug of a beer at the shotgun, you know, like where you plug it.
Oh my God.
I was just like, come on, dude. I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, whatever. And we made some good content. And I'm sure if you know the Pope stuff with Chicago and all of that, I'm just like, oh my God. But, we had fun and everything. They lost as usual. But White Sox and wrestling have kind of always been that thing. And people give me shit for being a Sox fan, Bears fan, Bulls fan. But I ain't going to switch teams because they suck. If I could get through last year with the White Sox, I could get through anything at this point because, shit, it was bad. And I watched every 162 game. Every single game of those, I watched every single one. So I love to punish
I can relate.
myself.
I can relate. Not only am I a Phillies fan, I've also been a diehard Red Sox fan back when it was like you were treated like you were looked at like you were a leper if you cheered for Boston. Like during that era.
Yep. Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, you like baseball? What's your team? The Red Sox. Oh.
Well, that was also had to do with the Patriots too, because the Patriots win everything.
Yeah.
I heard David Tyree's name for the first time in a while. I was like, oh my, I still remember that. Like, that's the thing too, like with like football, like, we'd had Super Bowl parties. So like there was one year, the year the Bears were in it, I won $50 from one of my dad's friend. I said it 10 minutes before the game started. I said, watch, Devin Hester's going to run the kickoff return back. And he did. My dad's friend looked at me and he's like, damn. I was like 10. I was like, damn, I just took it. And at that time, $50 is a lot of money. So,
oh, dude,
you know, I could do a lot. I went to Toys R Us. I got some figures. It was a good time.
So, who's your take for this year? So, who's your take on making it into the series this year?
What?
For baseball? Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's probably going to be something like the Dodgers or some nonsense like that or whatever. For me, if it's not the White Sox, I always like to see other teams like that don't. I always like the underdog. I always like the teams that like come out of nowhere and this and that. And there's certain teams that I just really dislike, like the Cubs, obviously, because fuck the Northsiders and fuck the Cubs. But I mean, like the Phillies. If the Phillies were like, I remember when the Phillies and Texas Rangers faced each other like 7 years in a row in the World Series. It felt like every year I was rooting for the Phillies because I hated the Rangers for some reason. I just, so. Right now, I kind of just don't want to see the Dodgers, but I feel like it's going to be like the Dodgers, Yankees, or some type of BS. But right now, the Tigers are the best team in baseball, and, I don't know. They're playing really good. The White Sox start playing them next week, or I guess it would be last week by the time this comes out. So hopefully they win a couple games. But that's kind of where it's gotten for me, where, like, I would have so much anxiety if the White Sox lost, where, like, if we were talking and they were losing, like, I could not have a conversation with you. But it got to the point where I was just like, okay, there's another game tomorrow, and I can't get upset. And that's kind of where the podcast is helped, because it's like, I got to still record an episode. I got to make it short. I can't be like, I do get mad, and there are times where I don't make it, and I probably should. But I realize I'm like, I can't be mad. It's like, a job. I'm trying, I got to like, and I don't know if you saw, but there's actually a White Sox podcast. Shout out to the 108 guys. They just got their own bobblehead, and they're getting their own day at the White Sox game in September. So
really,
I mean, it's just one of those things that is just so cool. And I always talk about it with like my show, or when we're watching Raw or whatever. Like, we were watching Raw last night when we're recording this, when Logan Paul was on. Like, this guy was doing YouTube, and now he's in the ring with John Cena. Like, he was probably watching John Cena like I was at WrestleMania 20, thinking, who would have thought 20 plus years later he's tag teaming with him on his retirement tour. So,
yeah,
I don't know where I'm going with this. I just like talking. So
no, dude, it's all good. It's all good. I mean,
as you see, I don't talk a lot.
What's it? When I pitched to you to come on, I said to you point blank, this is basically the whole concept of this is like if we were sitting on a couch swapping stories with each other, just shooting the breeze. By all means.
Well, yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm always very much so hoping for the Phillies to get to the series. Even if they don't win, I just would like to see them get there. Especially with the fact that I love that my guy hands down, Brandon Marsh.
Man, why is that? Because you look like him?
Dude, you are not the only person to say that. My mom and dad keep looking at me like, he could be your twin.
Not that or Charlie Blackman. I don't know if you saw Charlie Blackman when he like.
Yeah.
Charlie Blackman, man, that's the one thing I will say is the White Sox can't even lose right, because as I want to see it happen, and hopefully as of this recording, the Rockies are 9-47, which is 8 games worse than the White Sox were last year. And they broke the record from the Cleveland Spiders back in 1919 or some nonsense of having the worst record in MLB. So the Rockies are right now on pace to go 27 and 100 and whatever the heck is left games. So hopefully they keep that going because I just could not deal with it because, man, it was bad. And all winter having to listen to that was just not fun. So, but if you want me to give you, I'll give you a World Series prediction right now. I'm gonna say just for the heck of it, because we're obviously, I don't know if you're basketball fans, but we're obviously close to the finals. I'll say it's the Dodgers and Phillies in the NLCS, and I'll say the Dodgers win. And I'm not even just saying that because you're a Phillies fan. The Phillies are a really freaking good team. And if I have to watch the Cubs play in another World Series, I'm gonna rip my hair out because that was just not a good time at all. With baseball, though, as of this recording, the Orioles are 20-36. And the Orioles were supposed to be one of the best teams in baseball. So, I mean, that's the thing, too. And it's so early. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So, I mean, we could say this now. But, I mean, who knows? A team could go win 10 out of 15 and all of a sudden, because it just, The AL, though, is very difficult. Because, like I said, the Tigers are the best team in baseball right now. But they've really never been able to sustain this. And last year, there were 3 teams that made the the American League playoffs in the AL Central because they all just beat the shit out of the White Sox. So when they go and face these good-ass teams, they really can't keep up with them. So that's why I'm worried it's going to be some team like the Astros and Yankees again. Because, and it's always the same shit. Because the Astros are back in first place again. It's like it never fails with the Astros. Bang trash cans, cheat, win a World Series, and you're still good. I mean, it's just awful.
Yeah, because my mom, she made a point one time. She was saying, with baseball, it's simple. You only have to really work like the first half of the season. The second half, you can just coast because after that, it's like nobody's going to care. And whatever you got on the first half is guarantee you get you in the playoffs.
Well, yeah. Unless you're the Cardinals and always suck in the beginning and then decide that they're going to be good in August and September and then make the playoffs. Every year. It never fails with them too.
Pretty much. Now, speaking of talking about throwbacks, I don't know if you remember in like 2003 when Boston won the series, right?
Yes, I do. Fever Pitch movie. I think I watched that about 1,000 times.
Yeah. Now you remember after that, Johnny Damon went to the Yankees, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Traitor. Anyways.
Yeah. That is.
Again, Boston fan. Yeah, I'm a Boston fan and a Phillies fan, so New York is fucked with me no matter what. I can't stand the Yankees and I can't stand the Mets.
Man, Yankees fans are just rude. I went to a White Sox game. It was Derek Jeter's last game at U.S. Cellular Field. It was at the time, the guaranteed rate, Commerce, whatever the hell you want to call it right now, because they have 17 different names. I literally had a Yankees fan screaming at me. Mind this was also back in 2014. So I was 17 years old at the time, 30-something-year-old just screaming at the top of his lungs, smashed out of his mind, throwing beers at people, just yelling because he's mad because of what the hell's going on in the game. And the Yankees ended up winning, but he literally was just being a dick the whole night. And ever since then, I just don't appreciate or like Yankees fans. And I met a few like on my podcast and everything and never judge, but they just, I don't know, man. There's something about those Yankee fans that.
Yeah, and this is coming from a Philly fan, and we've been told, and as the old saying goes, it's true. There are no fans like Philadelphia fans. We are cutthroat and ruthless.
They are.
Where we will be like, hey, you're not allowed to call him an asshole. Only we are.
Man, I know.
But
Philly took Bryce Harper from the White Sox. I actually blame Jerry Reinsdorf, but yeah.
I don't blame you. But what I was saying, when Damon went from Boston to New York and he shaved his beard off, it was just like, it was almost kind of like in like the biblical stories with Samson. It was like you lost his strength. Like, so you lost your beard, you traded in for a set of pinstripes, and now look at you, freaking bum.
Maybe that's why they finally got rid of that rules, because they realized every time these idiots would come over and shave, they sucked again.
Yeah.
And they all didn't look like they're playing. Literally, I remember like Alex Verdugo. They just traded. They went from the Red Sox to the Yankees. He shaved his beard and he sucked. He's now kind of okay, but he was never the guy that the Red Sox thought he was going to be.
Yeah, so. It's just like, and And that never really made any sense either. Why are you, what's it? Spinning back to a wrestling term. It's an old saying Jim Cornette had. If you have a locker room full of giants, you ain't got no giants. Yeah. And if you got everyone with a clean crew cut, clean baby face look on your face, how do you have them all stand out? Who do you have stand out to be different?
Exactly.
You know?
I know and that's the thing too. And like, I even catch myself doing it sometimes, is I think that's like the thing sometimes is that we see something and we think, okay, let's try it. But like, you're kind of like stealing like what like other people do. And I kind of like try to do that where like, I've been trying to come up with like something that like, what am I good at that maybe like other people aren't? Because I'm sure there's something like you're good at that you're like, that you just, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, I'm trying to, cause I'll be honest, when I first started doing watch alongs and live streams, there were not too many people that did them, at least that I remember watching or seeing. And now I feel like everybody does a live stream.
Oh,
because,
God,
like, when I first started doing them, like, there were a lot of people that I would have in my chats, and my chats were this. And now I just feel like everybody's doing it. And maybe that just became a thing and everything. But, I don't know. I feel like I kind of started that. But, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell you right now, I am the worst guest to ever have for a watch along, because I'm that person that if I'm watching a movie or a show, I will just sit there and like this though. I will sit there the whole time quiet and just be like, hush, 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 hush. I want to hear this.
I know. And I catch myself having to go back and watch Raw, NXT, SmackDown, whatever the hell sometimes, or the pay-per-views, because there are things I miss and I catch. But being live for like Cody Rhodes' return, being live for when John Cena came back in Money in the Bank and stuff like that, like those are like moments, and like still like I'll rewatch Cody's return sometimes because I'm still that guy that goes back and watches every WrestleMania, every March and April. I still get chills, and it's just one of those things that where just like I don't mind it. But there are also times when like Raw or SmackDown is dragging. I'm just like, oh my God, I wish I could just record and go to bed. Because
I get that definitely. So since you watch some of the retro stuff, let me ask you this. Like I said,
I look forward to the retros more than I do Raw or SmackDown sometimes because they're so excited.
So since you watch the classics, let me ask you this. What's your take on Savage Steamboat? Because everyone always says, like, when you talk about big time WrestleMania matches, Savage Steamboat's always at least in the top 5 argument.
Yeah, and I think, that goes back to, like, how, like, the generations work, where, like, I have grown to, like, appreciate the older wrestling a lot more from, like, WrestleMania 1 to, like, 13, because for a long time I would never go past like 17 because I was like, that's old stuff. I was like, that's lame. That's whatever. But I finally was like, I need to watch this. Especially when I started the podcast and I started Tino's Time, because I'm an encyclopedia for the most part. You could ask me, I can name I at one point I can name every Royal Rumble winner, and I could tell you all these things. And so it's just one of those things that, like, rewatching them, especially on the retro series, and having like a bunch of guests and people that were alive, that watched it live, that ordered the pay-per-views. It was just, there was so much. And that match specifically was one of those WrestleManias. Which WrestleMania was
Savage Steamboat was 3.
Was it 3? I don't know why I was thinking. Which one was 5? Was that Hogan and Warrior?
Yeah, I believe that one was.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So watching 3, because when I first did it, I was kind of worried that there weren't going to be too many people that were going to want to watch all the older ones, because obviously, it's hard, because like I have a lot of people in my chat that like their favorite wrestlers, Roman Reigns. They started watching in 2014, and I try to tell them like who Chris Masters is, and they're like, who's that? And I'm like, oh my God. So, I really did enjoy that, and I think for me, it's probably definitely like in my top 5, top 10, but I also, again, like, I feel like, because, like, again, like, I've also always grown to like the brutal matches. So, like, I love, like, the TLCs, all of those Money in the Bank match. Because, like, Money in the Bank was great when they were at WrestleManias. And
yeah.
Definitely top 5, definitely top 10 for me with those. And WrestleMania 3 was actually one that I was, like, for me, when I was doing those retros, I would kind of treat it as like a WrestleMania pay-per-view day. Like, I would get excited. I would try to go back and, like, when I did like 16 through 33, I went back and watched every Raw and SmackDown during the WrestleMania build to get myself excited. And obviously it's harder to do with the older ones, because Raw wasn't around, like, and they didn't have SmackDown, whatever. So I did try to go watch, and that's kind of how I felt. And, because I never watched those either. So it was like me watching it for the first time, which I think I need to go back and watch again, because I'm definitely one of those that rewatches stuff that like understands it more. Like I'm rewatching the show right now. Don't judge me. I don't care what you guys say. Desperate Housewives. I watched it back with my mom and my dad and everything. And there's so many things, like there's stuff that they're saying, and I'm just like, oh my God, how did I not catch this? I'm just like, and obviously it was so long ago that it just stopped.
But hey, Chef, don't judge, man. I ain't one to pass judgment.
Listen, dude, and that's the thing is I tell people
I'm a 40-year-old nerd, man. But wrestling, comic books, sci-fi, Warhammer, anime, retro, cartoon stuff. Man, I'm not big.
Anime is the one thing I just can't get into. I try and I watch it with my friends, but I just don't understand it. And there's so many of them, and the people.
No, you just got to find the right kind of show. It's no different than if you were watching like a TV show.
That's what everybody says that I'm friends with that watches anime, and like I said, I will watch it, and that's the thing. Like I'll watch it, but then I expect you to like watch maybe an hour of Raw with me. I don't expect you to watch 3 hours or whatever, but like. And sometimes I have friends that do, and sometimes I don't. And it's just like, I know wrestling's not for everybody, but, be able to support because.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
because I tell my son all the time, because once it's basketball season, man, he is locked in, and he is a huge basketball junkie. It's like, Dad, do you mind if I go and watch my game? I'm like, dude, you can go ahead. You don't have to hear him watch the show with me. You can go watch your game.
That's how I was. Like I said, I watch every Sox game. So like me and my dad would be watching. He would watch like Howard Stern back in the day when it was like on TV. Yeah, big dad.
Yeah, when it was on what was it? Howard Stern show would be on ETV every night except Saturdays, and it would be on CBS.
Yep. So, or like my dad watched TMZ. He would watch like my mom at the time. She watched Desperate Housewives. They watched all like we would have shows every day that were on, and there were times I would just be like, Dad, I'm going to watch the Sox game. He'd be like, okay. So it's so funny. Or Raw, especially because my parents, they stopped liking it as I got older because they're like, oh, we don't have to watch it now because he can go watch it in his room. So I just sit in my room and watch Raw, SmackDown, freaking Velocity, Heat. Now I'm going way back. I don't even know if these kids know what Velocity and Heat are. It's pretty much main event. That's what it is.
Dude, I'm trying to explain the original TNA weekly paper.
Oh, people don't understand, man. All this stuff.
My dad knew a guy. We had a hot box. My dad knew a guy. We had a hot box.
Hot box?
I would watch.
You got vitamins?
No, we had the hot box. We had the cable. We had the free hot.
That's what we had too. My dad called it the cheater box. Is that what it was called? The hot box?
Yeah, it was hot box. But we would do that, and dude, no lie, I didn't pay for a pay-per-view until like in my 20s.
Yep.
I didn't pay for a pay-per-view until I was like in my 20s. And then I was like, wait, how much do these things cost?
Ridiculous. I used to have to give my mom like I would give I would work off, like I would clean my room or whatever. But then like if there was like extra, because I was the one that would get them every single month. And my parents would get them all the time until, like I said, as I got older, they're like, we're not spending $50. So it would be like $10 a week or whatever. I'd have to like work off to get the pay-per-view. And then there would be times that there'd be pay-per-views on 2 times a month. And imagine if that was now, bro. Like I could not imagine spending $50 a month to watch fucking Money in the Bank or Saturday Night's Main Event or promotion night commercial show, whatever. I mean, and that's the thing. Like as I started doing these shows too, I got to the point, like when I was doing my WrestleMania retros, I'm like, guys, let's see how much time we waste and how much time we actually spend watching these matches. I cut off one WrestleMania. I think I cut off like 2 hours just by cutting off all of the entrances and all of the stupid ads. And it's just like, why? Like, there's no reason for it. It's all about the money with these. So, man, those $50 pay-per-views. Thank gosh for Peacock because
the street. Man, and I said this before. I called this back at the beginning of the year in January. By 2030, at least all the major TV wrestling is going to be having some form of going to have some form of way to be able to view it, not just on regular old-fashioned cable, but just straight streaming.
Yep.
Because let's see, we got
going to Max, thankfully, because I do not buy AEW pay-per-views. So
yeah, because we got Raw on Netflix, AEW, you could see it on HBO Max.
Or Max. I think they're going back to Max or HBO, whatever that.
No, they're changing back to HBO Max
at the end of July. They said.
But and then TNA, man, it's just a matter of time before they get a deal with a streaming platform. and next thing you know, you'll be able to watch all their stuff.
Oh man, if they had all that old stuff, man, me
I
and my
mean,
next door
they
neighbor
got their own app.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They do have their own app.
Yeah, because during lockdown, man, that was all I really watched. It was that or Crunchyroll.
That's funny.
That was that or Crunchyroll. It was just no. I would watch the classic TNA stuff up or Crunchyroll. That was it. And that was it for me.
Love it. I played Animal Crossing. Me and my family just played that. That's all we did. It was so bad.
Dude, during lockdown with the pandemic, everyone was freaking out, and everyone in my family was freaking out, and they just saw me sitting there chilled like the dude from The Big Lebowski, and they were like, how can you be so calm?
Yeah.
Seriously, this is like when I was 14. The only difference, I'm told I'm not allowed to leave the house except if I'm going grocery shopping or walking the dog. The only difference is I'm allowed to play my games and watch TV.
And not get yelled at.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to go anywhere the next day because we couldn't. We weren't allowed to. So yeah. It was nice. I do Uber and DoorDash. Like that's one of my jobs because I feel like I have like 6 jobs. But literally, again, I was able to do that. But I would literally Uber and DoorDash. I'd go home and I'd watch TV and play video games. And like my family started, like my sister and her boyfriend and my stepbrother would come over and we'd all play Animal Crossing all night. And that was for months.
And that was pretty much it because Monday nights me and my son, we'd watch Raw, and that was back when it was still on cable. Tuesday nights, he wanted to go and watch anime, so we'd make Tuesday nights anime night, and I don't know on how, but the kid wound up clearing out an entire season of Mob Psycho 100 within a week. I give him credit on that because there is no way I could sit down.
I could finish a 5-season show, like 10 episodes in like 2 weeks if I really wanted to.
I mean, if I wanted to like seriously power through and knock out an entire season within a short amount of time, I know I could, but it was just, he was that gung-ho and determined to watch it. And if you ask him to this day, he'll still say that he knocked out at least a good 2/3 of all of Fairy Tail within a matter of 2 weeks.
How old is he?
He's 15 now. At that time, he was about 10 or 12. He was about 9, somewhere between 9 and 10-ish.
These kids
about 9 or 10-ish.
Like I saw like a 4-year-old that on a tablet wearing headphones, and I'm like, I didn't even have a phone until I was 10. I didn't learn how to text until I was 13.
I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16.
like the show I'm watching right now, it was made in like 2004 2005, and somebody said she goes I'm sorry, it's past 9 o'clock, I have no more free minutes. It like brought back this memory of me and my friends having to wait till 9 o'clock to call each other. I was like, I'm dead. I'm like,
only the real OGs get that.
I'm like, nobody understands. 9:01, me and my friends would have conference calls, and
only the real OGs get, yo, you got to call me after 9 so that way it's free.
Literally so bad. Or the texting, because people like when I first started texting, I didn't know you had to pay per text. So like me and my friend would text, and all of a sudden my mom got the bill. She's like, why is there that? I'm like, I didn't like, we had to pay for free texting. That was an extra thing, kids. J-Dog, if you're watching, if you're in the chat.
Or if your phone was lucky enough to be able to miraculously connect to the internet, if you wound up using the internet on it, heaven forbid, because then your bill would skyrocket.
Oh my God. I remember the razors when they would have, like, when they finally had the phones or whatever.
My brother had a razor.
My favorite was the ringtones. I bought ringtones and got yelled at.
Oh yeah. My brother had a razor. I would get the Virgin Mobile one. I would used to get the Virgin Mobile phones because the Virgin Mobile website had a deal where if you went online and watched like 10 videos, they would give you like 10 free minutes. They would give you an extra 10 minutes on your plan, no charge.
That's right. I remember that. That's right. So bad.
Yeah, so I would do that all the time.
Things that we had to do as kids, man. They don't understand. Like even like now, like seeing all these kids like not doing anything. I do it to myself all the time. Like it's really nice. Why am I sitting in the house? But like when I was a kid, I was never inside. Like I was.
Oh
outside.
No.
My house was that party house. Like I said, like earlier, like my friends would come over, but we had like ping pong, air hockey. We had bowling, golf. We had outside. We had horseshoes, beanbags, pool, hot tub, a TV in every room. It was just insane, and it was just
Oh,
I
dude,
was always
I
out.
would have been coming around to your place all the
Yeah,
time as a
everybody
kid.
was. I was out, and that was the thing where it was like everybody really loved coming over. But as I got older and as the shit started to fall apart, that's when I realized nobody came over and that was when I realized, okay, I really was just coming over for that. And this and that. So it was very hard for me to be very close. And I have a few very close friends that I still talk to, but it's very hard for me to trust people. And that's why, like, with the podcast and everything, it's so nice to be able to meet people like you or like Kyle or like I was talking to Kyle, and there's been like 3 wrestling shows that we went to and we didn't even know that we were, and so I'm actually trying to get tickets to the Sox Cardinals game in June. And it's funny. I think it's actually comes out. The game is on the 19th. So trying to get tickets because Kyle's going and I'd like to hang out with him. And that's just, I never meet Kyle if I didn't do the YouTube. So
Yeah. And dude, man, I tell you,
that.
If I can get it, we got to try and set something up. The whole network. We need to try and set up some kind of big meet and getting like.
Kyle was saying that about going to some event and getting an Airbnb and everything. I could only imagine. Could you imagine?
Oh my god! If we all got an Airbnb, I could only imagine. It'd be like something out of Animal House. The end result would be like Animal House.
People would I think people would uncover things. Like I know, especially for me. I know people would not expect me to be like the way I am because like there's just certain things that like usually like if I'm not live, I mean, and I talk about it all the time. I have my medical card for weed, marijuana, whatever, and this and that. So I smoke a lot, like 24/7 of every day. And so it's one of those things that it would just be funny to have people actually see like what I'm like outside of the box, and like everybody is. But man, seeing the Great Brown Hope live, I don't know.
Man, oh man. And listen, I don't drink. I don't drink or partake anymore. I don't drink or partake anymore. I used to when I was in college. I could outsmoke Cheech and Chong when I was in college. Yeah, and I drank like a fish. I lived up to my Irish heritage back in the day.
Oh, yeah, Irish guys stick together.
Damn right. I used to freaking party hard. Nowadays, I could still party hard, but I'll just sit there and have like a can of Pepsi and just be like, nah, man, I'll do this.
Yeah.
I'll have this and still be goofy.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like a couple of them would definitely get drunk, and it'd be sloppy time.
Just be like, all right, let's just get him over and wheel him into the tub. Yep. We'll be good.
I don't know who that would be. I ain't calling nobody out, but
Yeah, so. No. But before any of that happens, everyone has to turn in any and all pens, markers, or any kind of write material because we're not doing the first one to pass out gets written on.
My sister has done that to me a few times on Christmas. We would have Christmas part, like me and my cousins, my sister and stuff. And every time my sister would start drawing people and I was just like, I can't. One year I woke up on Christmas Day and she literally drew on me. And she drew something you should not draw on people. Bad things.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. So, yeah, not fun.
I took my one buddy out. For his 21st. And we went to a gentleman's establishment, using the proper PC term so we don't get censor jokes.
Yeah.
And well, the fine young women at this gentleman's establishment took it upon themselves to get a marker and write various comments on them, such as "I heart blankadoodle" on the side of his face.
Oh, yep.
Write blank willow on his forehead.
Oh, of course.
And then draw him to look like a big cat with a big giant black dot on his nose and then whiskers.
Oh my God, I'd kill somebody.
Oh.
It got to the point when my sister was going to do it. I was like, Gianna, I have to go live tomorrow. Like, I was like, I have a podcast. So I'm like, how do you expect me to do a podcast? I think it was like a Saturday. I'm like, Gianna, Raw's on Monday. How do you expect me to do a podcast if you draw on me? She goes, I didn't think about that. I'm like, you're going to have me cancel my show? And this was before I was wearing hats. Because I never used to wear a hat, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to get a hat, and now I need to wear a hat. I always tell people the hat is kind of what does it for me. Like, when I have the hat on, when I have the hat on, I'm like, I'm Tino, and then when I take off the hat, I'm Trent. Because
it's like with me, I love scally hats. I love scally caps. This is what I call my show hat.
Show hat.
Yeah, anytime you ever see me wearing this one right here, and for those that are just listening, it's a green one with checkered printing under the brim. This is my show hat, and I got like 6 or 8 other ones that just be like randomly. I'll be like, all right, yeah, if I'm going out, all right, yeah, warm weather, I'll wear this one. Cold weather, I'll wear the heavy duty cold one.
That's a good idea. I should get a hat just to wear because I wear this one everywhere, and now it's just starting to get destroyed. And I'm probably gonna need to get another one. And I keep buying hats, and I'm tired of buying hats. I literally I went to Sox Fest in January. They confiscated all my baseballs, so I had to get all my Sox hats signed, and now I didn't have a Sox hat to wear. I was like, this sucks.
Why they took it?
Because they weren't allowed or whatever. But I was like, it's a baseball. I was like, what do you want me to get signed? They're like, you have a picture. I was like, I spent $500 and you want, and that's why I got and that was part of the reason why we got free tickets from Sox Fest. And that's why I got tickets to the Phillies game is because they sent us 2 games free, all the people that bought certain passes at Sox Fest, because we spent $500 and they confiscated our stuff. They wouldn't let us meet certain people. They wouldn't let us get out of line. And me, I have a disability, so I'm trying to carry a book bag. I'm trying to carry a bobblehead. I'm trying to meet the player. I'm trying to, this and that. It's a pain in the ass to do with one hand. It's not the easiest, So it just, and I'm trying not to be like, oh, I want to,
Like, dude, man, talk about dick move right there.
I know, aren't they? And that's the thing. And again, I also live in Wisconsin now, so it's very difficult. Like me going to Chicago consists of me having to make a plan, find places to stay because I don't feel like paying for hotels. Because
Oh, I get that.
So, it's like a whole process. And that's what I called. And so I called before I went to Chicago last time. I called the guy. I'm like, hey, I live in Wisconsin. I'm like, can you send me the ticket to make sure I have the tickets? So I'm like, I don't want to drive to Chicago and then they tell me that they don't have the tickets. He goes, go to Will Call. I'm like, okay, what if I go to Will Call and they don't have tickets? And thankfully they sent them to me and I have the ones for the other game. But it was just like, oh my, like, come on, you can't even do this right when it was, like I said, $500 for a team that just lost 121 games. I mean, come on now. Do something right.
Yeah. Hey, I get that, man, because last ball game I went to, it was not that no, that one's local. We got the minor league team here for the Tigers. We got the Erie Seawolves are the minor league team for the Tigers. But the last major league game I went to, it was Boston versus Cleveland, and that was right around when they were filming because they closed off part of Cleveland because they were filming scenes for Spider-Man 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you went to the Guardian Stadium?
Yeah, it was back when they were the Indians, but they were the Guardians now. But yeah, at the time they were, dude, I was there. I went there in full-blown Red Sox gear because it was Boston versus that. And the whole time my parents were looking at me like, Tim, you going to be okay? Because on how baseball fans get after they have a few. I'm like, ain't no one going to try something with me. I want them to. Let them try.
Well, I tell people all the time, I'm ready to fight. I don't even care anymore. That's why, like, when people try to come at me or say things, I'm like, just come on. Like, I'm just so sick of it. I don't even care. And it's funny that you say that because I went to my friend's birthday. It's funny because his birthday is June 2nd, and obviously that is Tuesday or whatever. So, but we went to a Cubs Padres game, and I'm the biggest White Sox fan of all time. So I had White Sox hat, I had a White Sox shirt, I had all this and that, and I just did not care. People were looking at me. I'm like, we don't see Mr. Cub go to the White Sox stadium almost every single day and just walk around in full White Sox or full Cubs attire, and the Cubs don't even play. I'm like, you'll be fine. Because people were like, they're like, why are you here? I'm like, my friend, we had tickets right down the third baseline, and I've never been to Wrigley. So I tell myself I want to go to at least every stadium at least once. So I went to Wrigley once. I don't want to go back. But
I'll tell you right now, Citizens is a beautiful park.
So because that's when I'd really like to go to, is especially the ones around here where like the Brewers are close, Tigers, the Twins, the Guardians, I would expect, because they're all pretty close for the most part. So,
yeah. Citizens, it's a beautiful park. My favorite spot to sit, it's hands down got to be between the section. My favorite section to sit in is between third and home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights, so I cannot sit anywhere that's not on the lower level. I literally.
Oh yeah. I don't blame you. I used to sit there. I would get the low seats. And I would sit there, and in between innings, I would sit there and I would chat it up with the college students that were just there to catch the random foul balls that hit the ground that nobody would catch.
I know. I make friends everywhere I go now. Shoot, we went to SmackDown in Milwaukee, I think in November. I literally made a friend out. My stepdad goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm talking. I went to the one where CM Punk returned, and that was one too that Kyle was at that I didn't know he was at. And me and the guy were literally talking, and I still remember. And all of a sudden, you hear CM Punk's music go off, and man, the chills that I still get is just it. But you meet people, you talk to people, you become friends. You never know, and that's just where
and it's
all about sometimes.
Wrestling shows, man. Wrestling shows, hands down, great way for people for wrestling fans truly are one in a million because
they really
will interact with people. We don't care what you like, what you do in your day job. If you and I can both agree that, we both like this guy and that person needs to get their ass kicked, dude, we'll sit there and jawbone all night about on how cool it is.
Yup. And that's the thing. I mean, and even when I go to these wrestling shows, it's like to be honest, it kind of makes me feel better because I feel like I'm nuts, and my parents look at me. They're like, "Your collection's crazy. You're this." I'm like, "Do you see me walking around with the championship belt? Do you see me?" I'm like, these people like we went to one show and they were cosplaying as the Shield with the tag titles and the U.S. title, and my dad or my stepdad looked at me. He was like, "Is this real?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You think I was crazy? I don't dress up. I just collect figures and." If anybody's looking for Funko Pops, let me know.
Hey, I officially retired from Funko collecting.
For real, man. I'm tired of it.
I have officially retired from Funko collecting simply because of the fact that Funko finally answered my pleas of making Ed and Eddie Pops.
Heck yeah, man. People don't understand about the old Cartoon Network. Foster's.
Yes! The original OG from like 96 to 03 is top tier.
See, that's what
and I will forever die on that hill.
It's so funny because they're like shocked when I know all these things. And I always tell people because like you said, wrestling fans are a different breed, but like other than wrestling, like I watch baseball, I watch football. I'm very good at fantasy football because I'm very good with numbers and everything else like that. But like I also like Law and Order, reality shows. Give me a Survivor, a Big Brother. I could watch it all day long. Or like I'm sitting there watching Desperate Housewives from 20 years ago. So and that's the thing why I always say like there's so much wrestling on, you can't consume it all. Like people are like, why didn't you go live for TNA? Why didn't you go live for this? It's like that's why I do other shows on those days because like I need to watch other things than just wrestling. Like wrestling's on every day now. You wouldn't be able to consume nothing like anymore besides wrestling. So as much, and I keep up with it all, but it's so hard to keep up, especially with all the indie promotions and and just a lot.
Yeah, because it seems like anyone can make an indie show now. You just need it. All you need, you get a couple buddies grouped together, all pull up some cash, and next thing you know, boom, you can run one at any National Guard armory or any VFW that's got enough room to put a ring together.
Yep. I mean, got their own things, and I mean, even like some of these people, like they had like their own backyard wrestling promotions and stuff like that. Like it just, there's wrestlers everywhere. I just went to the ACW event that Hornswoggle runs in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and met a bunch of people and everything else like that. But there were people that were like there that like, I mean, you never know. You could possibly see them on an NXT or something like that, or.
Oh yeah, I always go and try and say, listen, watch the indies, man. If you can, watch them because that's where the real future is, right there. You may see big name household names on the TV shows, but they got to start from somewhere, right?
Exactly. We all start from that's why, like I said earlier about the Logan Paul, like Logan Paul sat there and started just like we were, 0 subscribers, looking for something to do, and now
Johnny Gargano used to wrestle here in Erie at the one local promotion in 2009 all the time. And now look at him. Exactly. Now look at Johnny Gargano.
I know. WrestleMania competitor doing the damn thing. And that's the thing. That's why I always like to watch the rises of superstars like Tiffany Stratton or like Lyra. Like I remember their first video package and people were like, who are these two? And now they're champions. They're like,
I remember seeing.
I always tell people to watch NXT and they don't listen. But that just goes back to so much wrestling.
Yeah. And it's, man, I always chalk it up to, it's like what I always say at the end of my show when I do the rants. Or not even on that, when I go and say all the time, watch what you like, man. Watch what you like, turn off what you don't. Don't worry about and don't go complaining about what you don't like. Because ain't no sense in that. If you're watching something to rage hate on it, just to click hate, where's that payoff for you?
Exactly. And I definitely do that. I like listening to people complain, like Vince Russo. He complains a lot about everything, and I like listening to that. But like, I mean, like, there's only so much complaining that you can do, and there's like, I mean, And I always say with wrestling, like, I used to get upset with like John Cena would lose, but like, I can't change it. Just like the White Sox, like I can't change that they're gonna lose almost every day. I'm just gonna have to sit here and watch it, and hopefully one day they'll be good. But I'll still be here every day watching them, and we can't change it. It is what it is. And like, again, like they are, like, I'm sure they already know who's probably going to win Money in the Bank. We're not going to change their minds unless they put Karrion Kross in it. But not every fan warfare is going to turn into we want Cody and make Cody become the champion.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's just all in a, and not only that, and here's the thing, and I'm guilty of this myself. Sometimes wrestling fans lack patience.
Yes.
We want the instant gratification aspect right then and there, right now. We want our guy on top.
Yep.
And sometimes we got to have them take a step back, get put on the ass end of an ass beating, so that way when they are on top, it's even better.
Exactly. And that's because it's so funny, because I've even had it with me where like I've had so many people stop talking to me because they're mad that like I grow faster than them or I have more subscribers than them. But as I said earlier, it's like every show, every episode, like I'm pumping out stuff every second. And obviously everybody else has their own lives and got busy and kids and this and that. But it's just like, why are we all not there supporting each other? Like, that's why I always say it. And I bet people like, oh, you're not there. I would literally help anybody do anything. But I just don't want to feel like I'm being taken advantage of, and I want to feel like if I make the effort, you'll make the effort, and if
I get that, man.
It just is not that hard to all support each other, because in the end, that's how we're all going to get somewhere, and that's how all these people have gotten somewhere. And it's sad that it all is just everybody's always looking out for themselves and want.
Like, there's enough room at the table for everyone, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, and that's just the thing where just, if one of us succeed, then, it's not like, especially with me, like, I'm the person, like I said earlier, like, if I somehow become successful, I'm not going to, like, drop the Main Event Network. I'm going to be like, fuck you guys, screw you, I'm done, deuces, cut. No, it's like, if it wasn't for the Main Event Network, I wouldn't have met people like you and Great Brown Hope and more people, and like, because obviously I met Kyle through somebody else, but I mean, it just, there's so many people I may have never met or talked to or even having this conversation right now. So it's not like
if I never met the network, I would have never got the inspiration to make this show. I would have never got the inspiration to go and work on my shorts. Exactly. I would have never have worked. I wouldn't have worked my ass off half as hard as I have these past few years being with the network, and my channel has skyrocketed exponentially since then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that totally. If like I blanket, if like I randomly wind up getting 2 million subscribers next week, and I'm definitely not gonna be like, nah, I'm out, peace. No, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm cool. You guys may think I'm cool, but go and check out these cats right here, because these are the dudes I have worked with that got me up to here. So if I'm this good, if you guys think I'm this good, trust me, these guys are just as good.
Exactly. And again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm sure not everybody likes me or not likes this and that, but and that's fine. But it just, there's going to be somebody that like loves it. And like I said, I have a few people that literally are in every single stream. And now, because I think I'm almost at 3,000 subscribers, there's like a leaderboard thing I have. So like now my chat is competing with each other every episode to see who is the leader in the chat. Because it's just like, and that it gives them something to fight for while we're watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, a 7-hour pay-per-view, a 16-hour Dynamite pay-per-view that Tony Khan wants to put on, so got to get everybody involved in that, because the interaction is where it's all at. And if I feel like if you have something to compete for, sometimes I feel like it gives that initiative to like, because people are like, what are you going to do when you get to like 1,000 or 3,000? I'm like, on to 4,000, on to 5. Like, I always have that, like, I want more. Like, I'm not like satisfied. And like, even like with what I am at now, like I just want to keep growing. I want to help everybody. I want to like, this is what gives me that motivation, like I was talking about with the anxiety and the depression. It gives me that, like, adrenaline that I need to, like, get through the day sometimes.
Yeah, it gives you that proverbial kick in the ass to want to move.
Because I'll be honest, there are some days that I struggle, and I've had a lot going on recently in my personal life. And to be honest, like, the community and, like, everything going on. Like, the last weekend, the 24-hour stream kind of, like, saved me because, like, there's been so much going on. And with me coming back from Chicago, it was, like, that thing to look forward to to know I wasn't going to be home having a panic attacks because I just left my family in Chicago. So it's like, that's kind of like where it's at too, where it's like, you know, like, I don't know what I'm going to do today because after we're done here, I don't have a show. So I'm like, well, what do I do with my life? But I also realized I need to do that because I can't overdo myself, because I'm sure, as you saw, I think I spent like 13 hours on the 24-hour live stream.
Oh my God, dude, you did the lion's share. I feel like you did the lion's share on that.
I don't know. So yeah, so because I was trying to keep track myself, because I was curious, because I wanted to see, because I was trying to keep in touch with Kyle, like the watch hours and everything, because I wanted to make sure he got, because, you know, because that was big for the network to be able to get all those subscribers and views and all that. Because if we didn't do that, they may not have been at 100 yet, or they may have just got to 100. And, you know, sometimes, so got to put in that work for everybody, because I hope that, you know, maybe if we do it on my channel or some, I'd hope everybody would make the same effort, you know. And that's where it goes back to the give and take. I would literally do anything for anybody, but I would just hope that if I asked you for help, that you would help me, because I would.
Oh, without a doubt, in a minute, man.
And
you know, I try and push out your work. The second I see you're going out, the second I get a buzz on my phone saying you're going live, I go and I share that out there.
Well, yeah,
same with anyone else on the network.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, I feel bad because I know I'm live every day. I post shit all the goddamn time, and that's why, like, I try to not do it. But it's like, that's where it's like I see that, and it's like, okay, I always say it takes 2.5 seconds to send a text, a retweet. It's not that difficult. And I know we're all busy. I know we all got our own shit going on. But you're telling me we're not all on our phone for 5 seconds at one point. Like right now, I have the group chat up on the network thing right now, just in case something happens or whatever. Because you don't know. Breaking news, we got to break it on the episode, and that's, you know.
And I just had to go and pop something on mine because my phone was buzzing. I tried to be professional, and instead of keeping the ringer on, I switched it to vibrate. Yeah. So it buzzed, and I went to go check and see what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's what I mean. That's where, like, and I've had friends where, like, I just recently had to cut off a friend because she decided that she was going to ghost me after a month, or ghost me for a month and stop talking to me. But then she's posting on Facebook, she's doing this, and it's like, you see my message. Why can't you just answer and, like, have a conversation? And, like, she has, like, some of my stuff, like TVs and stuff, and it's like, that's fine. You don't want to be my friend, but I want my TVs. I want my Fire Stick. I want my towel. Like, you know what I mean? It's like stupid stuff. It's like, come on now. It's not that difficult. So
I get that,
calling people out, but it's frustrating because it's like, man, I don't know.
Oh, dude, trust me, I get that. You know, like I said, listen, I'm a dudist. Like the dude, I'm a dudist. Like, I'm
what is a dudist? Please explain to me, what is a dudist? A nudist?
You're ordained in the Church of Dudism from the Big Lebowski.
Oh, man, is that the bowling movie, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I've seen that. But, like, that's one that I need to go back and rewatch again because, like,
oh man, I love the Big Lebowski.
I've watched it. Like, that's probably one I've seen like 100 times, but I haven't seen since I was like 15. So
Dudism, it's kind of like a mix between Buddhism, Taoism, and depending on the group you hang out with, either a little bit of alcoholism or you wind up taking one too many reps.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it's I'm a dudist. You know, I'm chill. I just if like, okay, you love me, all right, great. You hate me, all right, well, great, thanks, I guess, and that's it. I don't care.
And that's kind of what I've gotten to because, like I said, I've been hurt a lot, and I've been like, I have a lot of. I'm not trying to get all sappy, whatever, but I have a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of like trust.
I get that, man. Trust me, I
stuff like that. So like, I try to stay away from it, but like, it's gotten to the point where like, I get scared. Like I'll I have like my phone right here. And like, if like me and you are talking, like I'll turn my phone around because I've been traumatized by people like texting me these long paragraphs, messing like with my head, that it just like, I just have gotten to the point where I just don't even like trust people. And it just like, it's so hard to do. Like, even like with podcasting where it's like, I'll ask for a person to come on for an interview. It goes into more than just pressing record, the thumbnails, the this, the that, like, you know what I mean? Like me, what if I would not to show up today? You'd been like, what the hell? This guy made the thumbnail. I promote. It's like, come on. It's not that hard to show up or send a text message. Like I was just saying, you know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. I'm going on a rant now before I start talking about that.
Pretty soon you're going to have a new show and we'll wind up having friendly competition. Vicious Rants and Tino's Rants.
I just can't. No, I can't have any more shows, man. I feel like I already have enough shows.
Yeah, you got enough to make your own network if you
I
wanted,
mean,
but
yeah,
thankfully you're not.
and that was the thing too, because I've been offered since I started doing the podcast, because I started in 2020. A little background. So I started in 2020, and I only started with baseball and football. I love the White Sox. I love fantasy football. Bears, go Bears. I've watched every Bears game. I do fantasy football. I actually almost won $100,000 in fantasy football as an 11-year-old, but Andre Johnson from the Texans could not get one more yard, and I lost. And then my mom's card got charged $500. So that was fun. But I started the podcast and everything else like that. And when I started it, it was just one of those things that like, my baseball and wrestling, or my baseball and football were doing good, but like people were like, why don't you talk wrestling? And like I've said throughout this whole episode, the knowledge that I have for wrestling is just insane. I could go, like I said, talk about things that maybe some people might not, unless, and it just, that's kind of what finally took off, was the wrestling. And that was why, like, I've been offered to be a part of some networks, and I don't trust people. So I'm like, what do you want? Well, and I don't know. You ever watch that iCarly episode when it's I Take Over Dango, and they like try to change the name and they take out Car?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought. So I'm like, I don't want to know what somebody's going to change my name to, like, Dino.
Kind of like also with like Wayne's World. They signed the contract again on the TV network.
Yeah. So
Next
like, I didn't know what it was.
You have to go by this.
Yeah, because I had somebody, it's funny, because I had somebody from the network message me. I don't know who it was. He might still be with the network. I just don't. But it was a while ago. And I didn't know what it was. And I just thought it was some scammer. And then when Kyle and I started talking and he started explaining it to me more, because that's the only reason why I joined, is because me and Kyle have been friends now for like maybe almost 2 years now. I don't even know. The time just feels like it's going by. Like, whatever. So it just like, and that's the thing. And that's why, like, when I started joining the network, like, and that was why, like, Kyle texted me. He's like, you need to start, like, asking people. I was like, I don't mind asking people to come on the shows, but, like, I don't like rejection. I hate being rejected because I've been rejected a lot. So it's just like, I don't like asking because I'd rather not ask and not get rejected. But like, you guys are always offering to come on, the Great Brown Hole, Paperclip Mike, Kyle, all of you guys. And it's made me feel like I'm not afraid to ask. Or like, I don't turn my phone away every time. Or like when you message me or like we started talking, it was just like, you know what I mean? Because like even then, like I get so scared that it's not going to happen because of stuff that has just happened, or just, and again, it's not, again, just goes back to just being a good person and not just, because again, it's not just pressing record. There's a lot of things that go into podcasting.
Oh yeah. There's so much pre-work that goes into before we go live. Yep. It's like you wouldn't believe.
I know. Well, I have to explain it to my family all the time, and they don't understand it, and I get it, but it's just like, they're like, how do you make these? I'm like, I sit here, like, it's just like, what do you mean, how do I make these? I sit here and I make them, and I watch TV, and I like, nobody else makes it. I always say there's a group of us, but it's literally me. I make the streams, I make the thumbnails, I post on X, Twitter, YouTube, like, all of it. It's all me. I got no help. I was going to ask Kyle if he wanted to help me for a week just to see. I was going to see if I gave him $20 if he'd help me promote my podcast for a week, just share the episodes out, just because, like, it just, yeah. So Kyle, if you're watching, let me know. $20 1 week, help Tino.
$20, man. Just think about that. That can get you. That can help out a lot.
I know Kyle likes wrestling t-shirts. So buy you a t-shirt.
Yeah, just Kyle, if you're listening to this, before you go and buy a t-shirt, if you're going to get a WWE one, use my affiliate link, please.
What's the affiliate link? What do you got?
Oh, dude, it's in the description.
Okay.
It'll be in the description. Listen, I'm not a shameless self-promoter. I'll make sure I have the tab in there.
Hey, you got to make sure, got to let everybody know. Next time I order, it's funny because I almost made a WWE shop order last night, so.
Dude, if you're gonna just go on any of my videos, go on any of my actual videos, not the short.
On the description. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, they should have it. It should be in the description tab.
Yeah, because like when I order,
it won't be in the karaoke videos, but any of the other regular videos.
Heck yeah! I mean, like when I order from Ringside, I use, like, there's a YouTuber, Brett Olive, that I use. He has the code, his promo code that I use every time that I make like an order, that I can use it because, got to support everybody,
Oh yeah, definitely. We got to help build each other up, and like I said, there's more than enough room at the table for us all.
I know.
And Man, I thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. I really do mean that.
Oh, what do you mean? I thought we got 23 more hours left.
Oh, dude, come on, come on, don't do this to me. No, don't. Ow, ow. You're gonna twist my arm and force me. Ow.
Imagine.
Listen. I did not prep for this. You know what my prep for the 24-hour stream was?
Let's hear it.
I intentionally sleep deprived myself the night before so that way I could get all punch drunk silly that Friday night, and then down a monster right on camera.
I took a 4-hour nap before. That's why I had so much energy on Friday night. And then SmackDown. I realized that too. I was like halfway through SmackDown. I'm like, why do I have so much energy? Because I am tired, man. Like I said, I sleep and especially SmackDown now being 3 hours, it just drags. And now they announced that it's still staying 3 hours when it was supposed to go back to 2 hours next or 2 weeks ago or a week ago at this time.
Now my son has a new routine. He made up a new routine for us when we watch NXT, Dynamite, or SmackDown. We once, like about halfway through the show, he'll just go over, start grabbing the free weights and be like, "Hey, Dad, come on, you want to go and get a few pumps in?" They're like, "All right." And then we'll just start going. Like he does one, he'll work with one and I'll work with the other. And then we start going like that.
Hey, that works. Yeah. That's kind of to like where like I work out too, and I'll watch like a wrestling or I'll watch like a baseball game or something like that. I don't know why, but like I'll work out or I'll burn more calories like better because you're just not focusing.
You're seeing dudes that you're like, no, you know what? You see him, see that kind of cut? That's the kind of build. That's the kind of work I'm wanting to get to.
Man, true.
Yeah, but man, So, like I said, thank you for taking the time to come on here. And I say this to everyone, and I honest to goodness really do mean it. You could have been out there doing a million different other things. You chose to sit here. You got my eternal thanks, and you're always more than welcome to come back anytime.
You let me know. I'm always available. And like I said, I always try to figure it out. And, it's one of those things that if I do have a show, I always try. If I can, because obviously I can't change the time of Raw, SmackDown, or, whatever. But that's the biggest thing too. We're always here to always help and always make an effort. And that's why, because Kyle asked me, he's like, do you think you could do the most hours? I was like, yeah, if you need me to. I was like, let me know all weekend. I'm like, if you need me to come on to take whatever, I'm like, and that's why I told him, I was like, just the times that I wasn't allowed. But yeah, anytime you guys want me to come on, I'm always here. I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. Any socials, plugs, anything you got going on, by all means, feel free to plug it out there. The floor is yours.
Well, it is what you said. This is coming out June 18th, right?
Yeah. By the time this airs, it'll be June 18th.
Well, it is June 18th then. June 18th. But by that time, we will obviously have money in the bank over and everything. But as of this recording, we are trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. We are 26 away, I think, 25 away, something like that. I might have gained one before I posted like 3 shorts before we started recording. But 3,000 on Tino's time. Help us get there. We're obviously part of the Main Event Network crew. I got the South Side Boys, all of that good stuff, all the socials. Best way to find me is Tino's Time on YouTube and everything. All the links are there. We got merchandise on bonfire.com. So if you want to support your boys, you don't have to like the White Sox, but you can support the South Side Boys. So, but Tim, I appreciate you having me on and everything else like that. And it's been really nice to get to know you, especially the last 2 weeks with everything that we've been doing on the Main Event Network and having me on
definitely, man. And and there's so much more meat on the bone. We could wind up.
I could be here for hours. Like I said, I could sit here and talk. I love episodes like this because I could just sit here and talk for hours.
Same here. What was it when I had Ryan on from Talks with Dorks podcast on here, man? Me and him, we had to actually, before we started hitting record, we were getting ready to go along like, dude, we need to stop before we hit record. Otherwise, we're going to lose so much material.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my problem too, especially because like I do like an episode I call TTW. So it's Tino's Talk Wrestling, but my full name is Trentino Timothy Whitty. So it just kind of fits. And my brothers, I had a twin brother too that died when I was little and everything else, and his name was Timothy. So my middle name is Timothy, and but when I start going on those, man, I'll look at the time. It's like an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm still talking. I need to like hurry this up a little. So. Man, I could talk for hours, especially about wrestling and venting about baseball. There's times on the Southside Boys we'll start talking, and Deech is my co-host. He's like, Trenton, you need to I'm like, it's frustrating, man. I care. I love sports. I love wrestling.
I get it, man. Hey, when you're passionate, you're passionate, and you go and you shoot that.
the day the White Sox, Bears, these sports teams win a championship, you don't understand the excitement. I will go live on my YouTube channel. That is a promise. I will go live on my YouTube channel. And I don't, man, I will run around the streets. I don't even care. People don't understand. Like, I cried when the White Sox made the playoffs. If they win the
when
World
the Eagles
Series,
won the Super Bowl, me and my dad screamed to the heavens. Me and my dad were
Bears should
screaming
have
to
a
the
Super
heavens.
Bowl, but no, Peyton Manning sucks, man. That fucking game. I won $50. It was the best 5 minutes of my life, and then it all went downhill. Fucking Rex Grossman. Every time I hear the guy as somebody's name Rex, it drives me insane because of that, man.
I get that. I get that. All right, so man, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, thank you as always. I appreciate it, and we'll definitely have to figure out. And I know you say you don't like watch-alongs. We'll have to figure out an episode for you to come on and hang out with us for a little bit.
Oh, definitely.